This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
The June 11th primary is coming up fast and furious, and we're continuing our coverage of the Las Vegas mayoral race. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm talking with mayoral candidate Eric Medlin. Eric is a U.S. Army veteran and a small business owner. He says problem solving is his strongest skill, thanks to his Army experience and 27 years working in information technology. Eric does not call himself a politician. Instead, he says he's running on a platform to bring a common sense approach to the job. It's Saturday, May 18th. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Eric, welcome to the show. Please tell our listeners who you are and why you're running for mayor.
Well, thanks. Nice to meet you, Sarah. This kind of was on a whim. What was happening was there was what was called the first international conference on homelessness down at UNLV. And it was right down the street from our store. Okay. I own a mailbox store. Mm-hmm. And we had this idea, because we have a lot of homeless people that have mailboxes with us. And we thought, that's a lifeline for them. That's a way that they can get their documents, they can get their medication. But a lot of them don't have enough money to pay, and they're always coming, in, and they're late. And we said, if we could get them subsidized, like little houses, that'd be a great idea. So we bought tickets and we went down to this international conference on homelessness, the very first one, mind you. They've never had a second one, by the way. We go down there and everybody listens to our idea. I said, if we could get these little mailboxes subsidized, you could do it to all the mailbox stores all over the United States. And they said, great idea. The VA said, great idea. And not one of them called us back. And I really got mad about that. I said, that's horrible. I was telling my partner, Kenny, business partner, I said, when they have the mayor thing, I'm going to run for the mayor. I swear, I'm just going to solve this problem. And so I decided to run. And that's where I am now. I'm not a politician, but I'm somebody who is tired of the usual, just somebody's just saying something to say it and glad handing, because all politicians were there and nobody did anything. They're just talking a talk and nobody's doing anything about anything.
Eric, this is a really exciting place to start because, of course, homelessness is a big topic with the candidates in this mayoral race. It seems like maybe being a veteran, you have a lot of empathy with veterans who are homeless, but other small business owners say that homeless encampments are affecting their livelihoods. So what is your stance on the city's camping ban?
Well, see, the thing is, so I'm literally right in the heart I'm in the worst part. It's right there, Maryland Parkway, Swenson. Well, they renamed Swenson to try to liven it up by calling it University Center Drive now. But there's a park right there. It's just drug addicts are always in the park. You have homelessness everywhere. They're camping there. See, the problem is everybody's going to try something, but they're not doing I guess what it is the problem is much bigger than the solutions that are being used. Moving encampments and telling them you can't camp and stuff, that solves none of the problem. The problem is way bigger. And it's going to cost a lot of money in the immediate future, but in the long term, it actually trails off. So what you need to do is you need to actually house the homeless. It sounds antithetical, but you give them a house, so they have a place to start from. So now they feel secure, basically like dorm rooms. You give them dorm rooms. That's a place where they can start from. Then they feel secure, and those who are you're going to have drug addicts. You're going to have people that just are going to game the system and just want to live in these places for free. But there's people that will get back on their feet immediately, and they'll be able to move out of these dorms and go to housing. And then there'll be other people who will not even get in the system, because once these people are moved in and they're all off the street, they're all living in housing. Now, again, it's going to take years to build the housing for them, but you're going to have to do this. It's the only solution. They're doing it in Finland. It's working like a charm. And what they do is there's no homelessness on the street. And when they see a homeless person, they go and they say, come here, you're going to come here and you're going to stay. Because then that frees up a lot of resources. I know I'm kind of talking in tangents here because that's the way I talk. It's just it's a tangent.
I'm following. Yeah.
But basically, so you get them in housing. The ones who are addicted to drugs, you start trying to rehab them. It's not going to work. Some of them aren't going to ever get off the drugs, but they're in a house and they're safe and they're off the streets and they're not using resources like ambulances and stuff to go to the hospital 2 and 3 times a month. And over time, and we're talking generations, we're talking, probably 30 years out, they will have, unfortunately, they've passed away or moved on or, just aged out of the system. But the new people coming in the system won't be as many. And eventually it just trails down and the number of homeless won't be as much because you're grabbing them immediately before they fall through the cracks, saving them, and they move on. But right now, we're going to have a whole bunch of people that probably we can't save, but we're going to get them off the streets in a housing. Eventually, we won't need the housing because, again, it will just the system will age them out, if that makes sense.
I'm curious, what is your stance on the city's current homelessness solution, the Courtyard Homeless Resource Center?
Again, it's just a Band-Aid on something. The homelessness has increased since we've had it. It helps a few people. Like I said, the problem is much bigger than that. Unfortunately, it's going to cost a lot of money, and every city in the world is going to have to do this. And it's just, but people think of it immediately and say, oh, we're just going to give housing to people who don't deserve housing. They're just going to be freeloaders. Yeah, the initial ones coming in are going to be freeloaders. Yes, we're just going to have to accept the fact. But it's going to cost us less money a year to have them freeload in an apartment building than to freeload on the streets due to crime, destruction of property, medical resources, the police. All that's going to, so even if it costs, I think the numbers in Finland they were talking, it's like, it was $30,000. And actually, I was watching a video here in California. It was $30,000 a year. And once you started housing them, it only cost like $1,300 because they're not using up resources. That's just freeing up money that can be used for other things in the city. So yes, initially it's going to be very expensive, but it pays for itself in the long run. And eventually it trickles down to where there's, the cost is minimal.
So let's bring it back to you for a moment. Where are you from originally, and what brought you and your family out to Vegas?
Well, I'm originally from Washington, D.C., right outside the D.C. area. I was born at Bethesda Naval Hospital. Now it's Joint Base Walter Reed or something. It's where the president goes when he's sick. But I actually worked at the National Institutes of Health, which is right across the street back in the 90s when Dr. Fauci was the head of NIH, doing IT there when they were first starting their IT department. And then it just... on a whim, I just, I had this notion because I was doing IT. I was like, well, Las Vegas has got lots of glitz and glamour and lights and stuff. They must have lots of IT. It turns out they really don't. It's like MGM Properties has like one IT room that pretty much serves most of the properties. They have like, little offices over in each building, but for the most part, they're big IT centers in one location. They probably don't want me saying that, though.
Secret's out.
But yeah, so I just came out here thinking there was a lot of opportunity in IT. It turns out it really wasn't, but I ended up falling in love with the city. I've been here since 2007.
Eric, to me, it seems your whims are things that other people would consider massive life upheavals. But you know what? I like that. I'm into it.
Yeah, I like change, a change of pace, something like that. Because I actually moved, when the economy collapsed back in, 2009, was it? 8 or 9? Here when we had the housing crisis. I was like, I'll pack it up. And I went back to D.C. and I was there for about a month. I go, now I'm going back to Vegas. I was like, I just fell in love with the city.
Oh, it stole your heart. So tell me more about the work you've been doing over the last couple years. Are there any accomplishments in particular that you're proud of?
Well, like I said, I became a small business owner after the pandemic. The housing market went through the roof. So I was able to sell my house and buy into a business. So yeah, that's pretty much been occupying my time for the last couple of years. And like I said, that's where I got interested in doing all this. Like we were talking earlier, we have a lot of homeless people in our area and I see it every single day. And it's like, there's nothing being done. Nothing seems to be working. Again, like the mayor doesn't really have the mayor of Las Vegas has a big megaphone. It's a big bully pulpit. So I can present ideas. I've got a bigger voice than most mayors. Like the mayor of Poughkeepsie, no offense to Poughkeepsie, just doesn't have that same megaphone.
All of our Poughkeepsie listeners are furious with you right now.
Yes, I apologize. I will make it up to you, Poughkeepsie.
I don't think anyone listens from Poughkeepsie. Don't worry. Go on,
Yeah,
please.
well, but there's always that one. There's always one.
Mhm.
Somebody's going to mention it in the comments. You know it's coming. I expect your cards and letters and your emails and your tweets.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Go on. Sorry
but
to
anyway, so
interrupt
yeah, that's
you.
it. I mean, that's basically what I've been doing for the last 2 years. It's just seeing what's going on, and nothing's changing. It's only getting worse. Because I was not here during the pandemic. I got stuck on the island of Saipan because I went to visit a friend, and they've canceled my flights because you had to fly through Japan, and they said no, you can't come here. So I was stuck in paradise while the come up. But when I got back, homelessness had almost doubled. It seemed. I mean, it was crazy. But you were asking me what I was doing for the last couple of years, and that was basically
Yeah.
what got me excited about this, I guess.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
This episode is brought to you by La Quinta by Wyndham. Your work can take you all over the place, like Texas. You've never been, but it's going to be great because you're staying at La Quinta by Wyndham. Their free Bright Side breakfast will give you energy for the day ahead. And after, you can unwind using their free high-speed Wi-Fi. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you shine. Book your stay today at lq.com.
It's been really fascinating to hear your stance on homelessness in Las Vegas. But what else do you think should be the top priority for a new mayor, whether it ends up being you or one of the other candidates?
Well, okay. Okay, so obviously schools. I mean, schools are just, I mean, if you started from scratch, you would probably be a higher ranked school system than the one we have here in Las Vegas. And it's attributed to a lot of things. The main cause seems to be we're a very transient city. It's like people are just coming and going so quickly that the children aren't having enough time to, assimilate. But also, it's the again, we know it's bad. We know it's not working. Do we actually scrap it and start from fresh? I mean, do we get with the school board? Do we get with teachers unions, the federal government, and say why is this not working? What is actually happening? I was listening to a woman talk on NPR the other night, and she was talking about you have generational problems in the school system. You have parents that went through the school system that can't read. They got out of the school system, weren't unable to read. And I'm wondering, why is that a thing? Why would somebody get to a whole school system and read on a second grade level? Well, they're not able to teach their kids to read. So now their kids are coming to school in fifth grade, in kindergarten at 5 years old and 6 years old, and they don't know how to read. And there's no one to help them. And then the teachers don't have enough time to teach an entire class how to read. But now it's generational. So that's been going on for 40 years. So, is there a simple solution? I think that we have to be more targeted. But again, you have to work with the system you have and improve the system you have. So again, I like to solve problems as an IT guy. You just kind of get thrown into the fire. Somebody, the network's down. You got to go, I don't know what happened. So you got to figure it out.
Like you said, the Clark County School District is run by a board of trustees that represents the whole valley. So how would you, of mayor of Las Vegas, how would you go about accomplishing improving our schools?
Well, you'd have to get everybody together. It's like, okay, I don't know everything. I'm not going to know everything. So you got to get to the next people. It's like, what do I know as mayor? Okay, me. What does Eric know? So I say, well, I know this, this, and this. And I'll say to someone else, okay, what's your expertise? You get in here. Okay, who else knows something about this other thing that needs to be done? And you get them all together. If it takes 50 people sitting in a room and each one has 50 different skill sets, we can eventually figure something out. The problem is it's another thing. It's Band-Aid solutions. Sometimes you just have to start over. And people say, well, that's impossible. You can't do, you know what? If you keep saying can't, you're never going to get anything done. So sometimes you just go, let's just do it. Nothing else is working. Let's try something new.
You know what? And on that, let's talk about another sort of more concrete solution that you're in favor of. You said that you'd support a form of limited rent control. Can you tell me what that would look like?
So right now, the rent is so high and the mortgage rates are so high that people can't afford a house, you can't afford an apartment, and it's creating homelessness. But it's also creating stress on just regular families. They don't have disposable income anymore.
Mm.
So we'd have to work with, property owners, and just maybe just for a limited time, until interest rates come down, because, their property values go up, property taxes go up, your mortgage goes up, your rent goes up. It's all the same. Until some of this comes down, you may have to give incentives through tax breaks or whatever it could be. Again, I don't know everything, but get a group of people in. What's the thing? What can we do to get some of these rents down so that people can afford housing? When you have seniors on the street that all they have is their Social Security and they're probably only getting $1,200 a month, they can't get in a one-bedroom apartment with that. I mean, it's almost impossible unless you have. There are some senior places for people over 55 that they're coming at about $900 a month for seniors to live in. But you find now you have to live with roommates who they have to get an extra job. And this is supposed to be their seniors. Vets, the same thing. The veterans, I said you have a lot of them that have mental issues. They don't want to go to shelters because they can't. Unfortunately, they can't drink or do drugs in the shelters. But if they don't drink and do drugs, they start thinking about killing themselves. And it's that's a thing that's just So we have to house vets. They serve the country. As a vet, we don't want. I was saying we don't want anything special. We don't want special treatment as vets. But we don't want to have to jump through hurdles to get things done either. Just make it an easy path. But that's the same though with anything here, and especially like at the hospitals, Medicaid, Medicare. Take the government out of some of this stuff and just make it an easy path.
Would you endorse a policy that enacts rent control for seniors and vets?
Yeah, I would. Again, it's kind of up there with that. That it's the right thing to do. It just seems, the people have served their, the military served their time, and hey, old people have served their country for, until they were old. I mean, it's like, it's time for them to retire and go out and grace, not to have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've talked a lot about the ways that you would improve Las Vegas. So I'm curious, what do you think the city of Las Vegas is doing right now, too?
Oh, Las Vegas is great. I mean, look at this. We got, now I was listening to one of your podcasts.
Thank you.
Where you were talking about, what the mayor of Las Vegas's job is and stuff, and how that Oscar and Carolyn were upset that they didn't get a sports stadium in downtown Las Vegas. Because again, most people don't, like my friends, a lot of my friends can't vote for me, even though they say, I live in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't live in Las Vegas City. But what Las Vegas does right, it's like, it's the entertainment capital of the world. It's just an amazing place. I mean, like I said, we've got football, we've got baseball coming. That one, I see now, I'm a little bit on that stadium thing, though. That's kind of, because most cities that funded a stadium don't get that money back. It never comes back the way it's supposed to. There's one city that the stadium's outdated. They've torn it down and they still owe on that stadium. So, the people that want the stadiums, they're billionaires. Kind of thinking they might have to pay for this. And we just paid for a football stadium. We're going to pay for a baseball stadium too. But again, that's really not my jurisdiction. But I like that sports are here in Vegas. I'm sorry, I'm going on the negative side of things, but you were saying what I like about Vegas.
I know. I mean, Carolyn Goodman had some opinions about that stadium too. So,
yeah.
I mean, as you said, you're sort of you didn't say mouthpiece. What was it? A megaphone for the city.
The Las Vegas mayor is a megaphone. He has the bully pulpit, or he or she has the bully pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, but Vegas itself is just, I mean, I love this city. And I would like to keep continuing with what the Goodmans were doing with vitalization downtown. It was a shame that Tony Hsieh died, because he was really helping out with the properties down there and revamping them. So we need to get some more investors down there and say, hey, look, it's important that we revitalize downtown, because Mayor Goodman had it correct, as it's the core of the apple. If that's rotten, the rest of the city will go. And he said, you can't let that part go. No matter how much you may want to, you can't let that part go, because if it'll creep up to the Strip eventually. So You revitalize downtown, and that just needs to really be continued.
All right, here's our fantastical question. Get ready. So,
Okay.
as mayor, you can pretty much summon anyone you want to for a long lunch. So, who is the first person that you would ring up to have a long talk about the pulse of the city? It cannot be either Goodman, and it can't be me, Eric, although I know that you want to get my opinion on the pulse of the city.
Oh, see, the pulse.
Not the first person.
So, See, the thing is, I know this. There's this old gentleman. He lives down off of Maryland Parkway, and he has a mailbox with us. And he knows everything about Vegas. He's been here forever. So I talk to him every day. He just kind of gives me the insight of what's going on. He's like, "I'll go and hand out flyers for you downtown. Just give me some more flyers." So as far as he's the one, because part of him, he says, and it's he likes the idea of rent control. So. And he actually liked my idea of just partial rent control. He doesn't fully agree that he'd rather have full rent control, but he thought partial rent control's there. So much I talk to him every day, but let me try to see if I can think of somebody else that.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I think that's great. Since he's already been giving you such good advice, maybe he deserves a long lunch after you win.
Yeah, and actually, that's true. Oh, and I do have a different thing that I'm doing with my campaign. So. Everybody's asking for everyone's vote. Please give me your vote. But they're not earning the vote. I'm going to earn your vote. I am literally, from now until November, am walking. I've got to lose 61 pounds or 60 pounds, 60 pounds between now and November 1st. If I don't lose the weight, you can vote for my opponent. I'm literally putting my body on the line to get this job as mayor. But I need everybody's help to get through the primaries. You get me through the primaries, I will definitely keep working until November 5th. November 5th is the election. November 1st was the date because it was 6 months from May 1st that I will walk to lose this weight. Because I weighed at 280 pounds and at 278. Too. I'm sorry?
You're also going to be walking throughout the city as well.
Yes. I'll walk through different parts of the city. We'll start listing. It's like right now I just have to get used to walking. I have three. Another reason was I have 3 slip discs in my back.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have to start getting into this gradually. But yes, eventually I'm going to start walking. We're going to walk all the way to City Hall.
That's so cool. Well, I'll see you out there on these streets, Eric. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. And if you enjoyed this show, we have been covering this mayoral race for weeks and weeks to come, all the way through the June primary. So tune in and catch some of our other candidate interviews. And while you're at it, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back soon with more news from around the city. Take care.